Activists in Hong Kong are looking for a new home. They're being forced to leave their homeland and seek asylum abroad. This is the result of China's authoritarianism. This is also an opportunity for India. In the next 4 minutes, we'll tell you how India can leverage the exodus from Hong Kong to stand up for democracy and human rights and to gain an upper hand in its fight against the Communist Party. Let me start with some pictures. These images were captured by journalists of the South China Morning Post. These people are activists. They wanted asylum in the United States. They managed to enter the American consulate. Reports say they were turned away. There is no official confirmation. We do not know what happened to these activists, but we do know what happens to activists in general in Hong Kong. What is happening with them? China is cracking down on them, and it is cracking down hard. 3 different activists have been arrested recently. Why is China rounding them up? Because they are trying to leave. And the world's leading democracies are giving them asylum. But this list does not include India. It should. India should open its doors to Hong Kong's pro-democracy activists. Not just because of the standoff at the border or to settle scores, but to make a larger point. India is a democracy, the world's largest. India is also a rising world power. It has a responsibility. It must protect democratic rights in its neighborhood and voice its opposition when human rights and basic freedoms are violated. What I'm proposing is not unprecedented. India has done this before. In 1959, India granted immediate asylum to the Dalai Lama and thousands of Tibetans. This was after a revolt against the Chinese regime that had failed. India's move demonstrated its commitment to human rights and democratic values. If New Delhi extends asylum to pro-democracy activists from Hong Kong now, it would set an example one more time. And India will not be the only country doing so. Many Indian allies are welcoming refugees from Hong Kong. A group of activists has been given asylum by the United States, Canada and Germany, countries that have committed to standing up for human rights in Hong Kong. The United States has put activists from Hong Kong right at the top of its priority list. Specific allocations have been made in this year's proposed refugee resettlement program in the US. There are at least 3 bills before the US Congress now. These propose greater protections for the people fleeing Hong Kong for the United States. The British government has made special provisions for activists from Hong Kong too. In the month of June, Prime Minister Boris Johnson allowed holders of British overseas passports in Hong Kong to come to the Great Britain. They can live and work in Britain for up to 5 years. After that, they can apply for citizenship too. The residency plan is open to nearly 3 million people. Hong Kong, we know, is a former British colony, so such a strong reaction was expected from London. But the British government is standing up to defend democracy in Hong Kong, it says. China says the national security law in Hong Kong is an internal matter. It is not. Indians, in fact, could end up in Chinese jails if New Delhi does not keep the heat on Beijing, because with the national security law, China can target foreigners. Its provisions are so vague that any criticism of the Communist Party can be termed a violation, and any resident of Hong Kong, local or foreigner, can be potentially detained, which means Indians are vulnerable too. The Indian community in Hong Kong has almost 38,000 members. In July, India had urged the United Nations to, quote-unquote, seriously and objectively address its concerns over the developments in Hong Kong. But here's what. A mere statement of concern is no longer enough. India needs to be louder in its opposition. The situation in Hong Kong is deteriorating. China has moved swiftly to crush the pro-democracy movement. Activists are being arrested. Before the 3 recent arrests we told you about, 12 more activists had been arrested. They were allegedly trying to flee to Taiwan, that has opened an office in Taipei to help asylum seekers. The issue of human rights is China's Achilles heel, and India should exploit it. The timing is right for Delhi to make a move, offer asylum to the activists of Hong Kong, to the people of Hong Kong, take a stand against the Communist Party's decision to impose its authoritarianism on Hong Kong. Thank you for watching Gravitas on WION's YouTube channel. If you want to stay up to date with what's happening around the world, then subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like and share. Thank you very much for watching WION. The World is One.